So there's this audio that I wanted to record about Liverpool's transfer activity uh, prior to the 2021-2022 season. I'm seeing a lot of rebellion against FSG on social media. Every Liverpool fan, most of the Liverpool fans, I'd say, are going crazy that Chelsea are signing Lukaku, City have signed Grealish, and they're likely to sign Harry Kane, and Arsenal are signing players. They've bought Ben White for 50. Um, Aston Villa are buying players, and Liverpool are just doing nothing. And I really don't get it. I really don't get it. Why there is such overreaction? Uh, you got to look at it from the financial point of view. I think we are in a pandemic year now. Obviously, when you say that, uh, everyone would say that that applies on every team, not just Liverpool. But Liverpool's transfer model over the years has been about selling and using that money to buy players, and which has worked remarkably well for us. I think most of the clubs have to do that. A lot of people think the likes of City and Chelsea are spending crazy money, but they're going to be selling players as well. And when it comes to Liverpool in particular, I think people tend to forget that you look at a team like Man United, they've bought in Jadon Sancho and they've bought in Rafael Varane, and people are losing their heads over it. Like, what are we going to do now? United are so much stronger than us. I mean, these are players that they needed. You ask any Man United fan that what are the three positions that they needed strengthening within that starting lineup in last two seasons, and they would have told you that we need a right-sided midfielder, a right winger, we needed a defensive midfielder, and we needed a centre back. So these are the positions that they needed to strengthen within their starting lineup. You look at Chelsea, they bought in Timo Werner last year. Uh, he was supposed to play as the number 9. It did not work. He's playing out wide right now. They shifted Kai Havertz in the number 9 position, but I don't think that's a long-term prospect. And now they suddenly, after spending all that money last year, again they need to spend, and they're bringing in Romelu Lukaku for their first team. So it's a very obvious move. You look at someone like Man City. Uh, I mean, they are probably the one team that spends on luxury, and they've bought in they've bought in Jack Grealish, and I really don't know. I mean, what purpose does that serve? I mean, Grealish, is he going to play deeper? Is he going to be the number 8? I mean, I'm not sure about that. Is he going to play on the left? If he's going to play on the left, that means Raheem Sterling is not going to play on the left. Phil Foden, I think in his best matches for City, he has played on the left side. That is not going to happen. So it's between one of those three guys on the left hand side. Maybe Sterling will shift to the right, and there you have got again Mahrez, who has done so well. So I mean, it's just one position. I mean, can you imagine? A lot of Liverpool fans want us to sign Kylian Mbappe. Now, can you imagine, signing Mbappe for 100 million plus and rotating him with Mo Salah? I mean, is that realistic? I don't think so. Mbappe, I mean, his wages are going to be insane. We are bringing him in for being a backup option. I mean, that's not realistic. I mean, we bought in Diogo Jota last year, and he in certain games he took the place of Salah and Mane, and we saw the kind of rebellion you know those guys showed on the pitch. And even after final whistle, you remember that game against Man United. Salah, Mane refused to shake the hands of Klopp after final whistle because he thought he would be starting the game, and Klopp changed his mind at the end of the final training session. So I mean, most of our players are very much nailed. I think our first 11 is very much set. We do not want a right back or a left back coming in and competing with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. And why would a quality player come and sit on the bench of all season waiting for an injury to happen so that they can get a look in? That's not going to happen. So I mean, at best we can hope for. I mean, and we have already spent money on bringing a centre back. I mean, Konate. People tend to forget that because that happened very early in the transfer window. It almost feels like a buy that happened in the previous season. I mean, I don't know. Konate, I was not very convinced about buying another centre back, but we bought him in, and that's good money. I mean, we spent how much? It was 35 to 40 million, I think his price was. So there is already one player who has come in this transfer window, and in order to bring in more players, I think we have to first sell. You look at midfield. It's you might question the quality, you might question the injuries, but at the same time, you have to think that there has to be space within the squad. Wijnaldum has left, but still there's so many midfield options. I mean, our starting midfield option is probably going to be Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago. Then you have got Curtis Jones, you have got Shaqiri, you have got Chamberlain, you have got Naby Keita, you have got even Harvey Elliott has been playing in the midfield role. So there's so many options. I mean, where would you bring in and accommodate somebody like Salnigas, who's on 200k per week plus wages as a backup player? Again, that's just not realistic. And so unless we are letting go of some players, like for example this season we sold off Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita, two players who have been incredibly injury prone over the years, and along with that maybe Shaqiri as well. All these three players, I mean, we sold them off. Then maybe we can think of buying a midfielder. But right now, on the basis of what's happened in preseason, I'm not seeing that happening. So there is no vacancy here, and it's the same in the forward line. We've got 3 nailed on starters. I mean, maybe Firmino has not done that well over the last 2 seasons, but our front 3 is well recognized. And then we have got Diogo Jota last year. So we have got 4 players, 4 very quality players. And the only worry that we have this season is African Cup of Nations in January, and it's just 3 games. And yes, at that time we may be light on numbers. Right now we have got Firmino and Jota, if everyone stays fit, and along with that we tend to forget again. As of now, as of today, there is Minamino, there is Harvey Elliott, there is Divock Origi. There are 3 players who are still there at the club, and we're paying them wages. And if we can't have them in the squad even for 3 matches, then what's the purpose of keeping them? So in order to probably fill in those slots, bringing someone with more quality than these players have, we'll first have to get rid of those players. Minamino is having a decent preseason. I don't know about Origi, but unless these players are moved on, I really don't see how we are going to buy players in those areas without giving it a long-term thought. So this is what I wanted to say. It just there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of toxicity on social media. The people having a go at someone like Adrian continuously. The people having a go at the younger players, like, what you're doing in the squad, get out of the team. Make spaces for bigger names to come in. It doesn't need to be like that. I think the the functioning principle of Liverpool and some of the other clubs are very different. Liverpool have not really, bought in star players. I mean, if you look at the current squad, I think other than Alisson and maybe Naby Keita and maybe Thiago, other than these three players, I don't think that there were any other players in the squad. When they came in, they were like world beaters. I mean, we have bought in the likes of Salah, Mane. Even you look at somebody like Van Dijk, we paid big money for him, but he was not the same player at Southampton. You look at someone like Robertson at £8 million. What an incredible signing he has been. So these are the things that Liverpool have achieved over the years with the current transfer policy, and I really do not want that to be changed. I do not want us to go and spend crazy money on a player whose biggest attribute is going to be selling shirts. It makes no sense. I mean, that unnecessarily creates tension within the squad. Wages are an issue. I think our wage structure right now is very balanced. We are all seeing what's going on at Barcelona right now. I mean, when you start paying crazy wages, I mean, those kind of things can very easily happen. I'm very happy where we are right now. I think the squad looks to be in good shape. Van Dijk is back. Looks like he's going to start the season. Matip is fit. He has stayed fit throughout the preseason, and those two are most likely going to start at centre back. We have got a decent backup in the form of Konate, and there's Gomez. There is Nat Phillips. I mean, there's so many options, and the biggest factor is, of course, the fans are going to be back. So there's a lot of positivity in the squad right now, and we do not need this kind of negativity that, because we are not spending as much money as some of the teams, we're going to slip off. I mean, we might slip off, that can happen, but it's not going to be because we spent less money than those teams. Most of the teams who are spending money are either filling in their weak areas or spending it just as luxury. For example, like someone like Man City. Do they need to buy Harry Kane? Probably yes. Did they need to buy Jack Grealish? No, I don't think so. So these are things that a club like Liverpool has avoided over the years, and I'm very glad that they did. This is why we are Liverpool Football Club and we are different from the rest. This is why we're a proper football club, and this is why Jurgen Klopp chose us above a lot of other teams, which are just, corporate models shaped as football clubs. We do not want, 200 million pounds spent on a single player, and when that doesn't work, Klopp is sacked within 2 months. We don't want a situation like that. So yeah, just be with the team, stay patient. Just 5 days left. I think our opening fixtures are very good. We can get off to a very quick start to the season. Most of our players are fit. We have had a long and very healthy preseason. So yeah, stay united. You'll never walk alone.